vacancies. Wanted to let you know that we have made some progress actually in our council priorities. We'll talk a little bit about this as well, but we have sent out letters of interest to a couple of recommendations we received from council. So while we have not placed a council member in these 4 vacancies, I hope to have at least 2 in place by our July meeting. I think we're in good shape in terms of next steps with identifying and communicating with individuals from these positions but if that changes, I may reach out to council members again offline before the July meeting for additional support communication. That being said, always open to recommendations, so you're welcome to submit those to me directly as well. But those positions, just to run through, we have 2 legislative appointed positions. Brenda Howard serves as the chair of the House of Representatives designee, and our chair from the Senate committee, that designee is vacant, and so we will work with that office to fill that position. Of note, we also have a superintendent representative from a military school district. That means we have 3 school districts that are actually placed or part of an installation. And so that we envision just being a rotating position. And so Dr. Bernie Roper completed his term and an extension of his term. He is willing to rejoin us if we are not able to place one of the other 2 superintendents if they're not able to join the council. But we have reached out to them both and hope to have an update for you in July. Our district administrative representative also termed out, and so we have a couple of letters of interest out for administrators, and that's just a really broad, can be a broad administrative role. Previously, our member was from Killeen ISD, so we are reaching out to a couple of other districts so that we can provide other opportunities that could also align with one of the council priorities to reach out and engage to districts that we may not always think of when we think of military-connected families. We know our students can be placed across the state, but certainly have some concentration of areas. But it's sometimes those students who are in the less traditional school districts, not directly or directly located within or adjacent to an installation, are sometimes the students that encounter the most barriers and obstacles because the administrators might not be as aware of the compact and its provisions. So hope to have an update there, and also have reached out to candidates suggested by council for the parent representative. So with that, we'll move on. Oh, before we move on, this was a recommendation from one of our council members, Colonel Jew. A 1-pager would be helpful in recruitment of council members and filling our vacancies. And so we have drafted a draft 1-pager that kind of lays out first what the compact is, just really briefly, the council itself, the connection between the national office, which when we talk about MIC3, we're talking about the Military Interstate Children's Compact Commission, MIC3. That's the national oversight organization that supports the Interstate Compact on educational opportunity for military children, which we refer to as the Military Compact. So it makes that distinction, lays out role and purpose of the council, as well as expectations for meetings. And so you'll notice there's a little bit of a draft stamp here. We will upload that into the space for the council, give folks an opportunity to review, provide any feedback between now and the next meeting, and then I'd like to have council members just sign off and approve on that document at our July meeting. So thank you for that suggestion, Colonel Jew. While it is in draft form, we've gone ahead and taken advantage of it and used it to send out to a couple of the individuals who we had reached out to about recruitment for council membership. So thank you for that suggestion. We will finalize that with the council next meeting. Somewhat related, I had new council members introduce themselves to the council when they join, but because we have such a rolling membership, don't want our existing members to have to reintroduce themselves each time. And so we talked about having bios that we post internally in our shared space. There is a template that will also be uploaded. I don't think it's in our workspace just yet, but we will upload that after this meeting. I think I've already completed mine. I will not in this audience share those details, but I have myself as an example there for you to see. It's a very basic framework, but just an opportunity to insert a headshot and a couple of things about yourself. And then we'll share that with new members in advance so they can get to know existing members a little bit before they join their first meeting. So that is our council membership update. I am going quickly, Colonel Ju, because I want to make sure that we get some of our more substantive updates covered before you need to log off. So I'm just going to keep speeding along and move us into our 2026 council priorities. We'll take a couple of pauses here, though, if there are any suggestions for additional activities. But this item, the 2026 or the council priorities agenda item, really is, I expect to be a standing item to review with the council each meeting. These were the priorities that were discussed at the beginning of the fiscal year. The council follows the fiscal year from September through August. And then at the end, well, at each quarter, I plan to share with the council any progress or steps, what we also call results that have occurred since our last meeting in supporting or actualizing or operationalizing these priorities. We have Dr. Lay helped to create a framework, a priority plan framework for organizing our priorities and thinking about our priorities around three primary focal points: our stakeholder engagement and outreach, training opportunities and resource dissemination, and strategic partnerships and leadership engagement. And so those 6 priorities, I did not read through them, but they've been sorted into one of those focal points. It doesn't always fit just in one place. There can be some overlap. But we've organized the concept of just continuing efforts of awareness of the Military Interstate Compact and the work of this council as a part of our stakeholder engagement and outreach. And then that I mentioned this priority earlier, increasing our communication with districts that have lower military connected students enrollment. Under training opportunities, the council has discussed bringing case studies both to the council, but to our broader audience to share. And a second priority or activity here is promoting the criteria for Purple Star campuses. And then under strategic partnership and leadership engagement we had identified reinforcing the connections with the school liaison officers and filling our vacant council positions. So this is just a framework to help think about those focal areas and what kinds of our priorities within those focal areas. And in this next line, you'll see our action steps and results when we report out on these priorities. So this slide breaks out those 2 goals in the priority plan that we'd identified under stakeholder engagement and outreach. Across the first row, you'll see in terms of just general awareness of the military compact, one of the action steps that was discussed at a previous meeting was the development of a communication plan. On the right, you'll see our quarter results, some steps we've made towards those efforts, and that communication plan was, in our last meeting, we talked about putting out some communications related to the month of the military child, and we'll be talking about that a little bit more if you're not familiar with the month of the military child as an agenda item. But we put out some letters to installation commanders. And then again, Colonel Ju had suggested, well, that's a great place to start. What about school districts? And so Dr. Lay's team here at TEA put out a social media announcement through TEA's social media account, and it also distributed a newsletter. I think in the future, there are other newsletters. That HMAR is Dr. Lay's team, the highly mobile at risk population, which is where military connected student support is housed within the agency. But we have other newsletters that we might want to expand into in the future, counselor newsletters. subject areas specific are the ones I work with directly, which may or may not be as far reaching as a counselor newsletter, but that's something we can explore in the future. What I'd like to actually do, talk about on this step is something a little different we haven't done in the past. When we talk about developing a communication plan, what I'd like to do is pull together a small subcommittee of council members outside of our quarterly meetings to come together and create a draft communication plan together. I know we have different capacities and skill sets among the council. I'm not going to put people on the spot today, but I have a couple of people in mind that I'll be reaching out to directly to see if they would be interested in serving on this subcommittee for the development of a communication plan. But I do offer to anyone and everyone, if that is something that you would be interested in, please let me know. Just a couple of folks that we can meet offline in a little less formal setting and talk about what opportunities exist throughout the year. And then we can bring that communication plan to a future council meeting. So just planting the seed now, if it's something that you would be interested in, a subcommittee to develop a communication plan that would include things like Month of Military Child, but other outreach and communications that we can put out as a council to our districts and to our installations, please let me know. But you may also be getting an email from me to see if it's something you might be interested in. Moving to the next, increased communication with districts with lower military connected student enrollment. These are a couple of notes that I've pulled, just highlights from Dr. Lay's report, and she'll be talking with you in her staff report more about some of the activities that her team here at TEA has been doing to support military connected students across the state. But I really wanted to highlight one of her action steps is she has put together a group of military champions. She's talked about them in previous meetings, but this is a representative at each educational service center in our state. For those of you who don't work as directly with the public school system, Texas is such a big state. We're broken into 20 regions, and within each region is an educational service center that supports the districts in that region. Some of those regions are probably the size of some of our states, which that might be an exaggeration, but our regions, even our region service centers, have a really broad scope. But by having that military champion in every region, that really has the opportunity to reach those students and those campuses and districts, administrators, counselors, and teachers who are not necessarily directly in a surrounding area around an installation. Certainly those staff members and families, but even beyond. So by extending that to all 20 regions, I think works towards that advisory committee priority of increasing our communications with those districts. And so I'm not going to go into a lot of these results. I've pulled out a couple, but you'll be hearing more about some of those highlights in Dr. Lay's report. But the second thing I do want to point, the second action step towards increasing this communication that the council has discussed, and that is data, collecting and reviewing the student data. The last bullet point under results, Dr. Lay's team has updated their statewide military school indicator data infographic. She's shown that graphic before. We'll make sure you have copies available in the workspace. But I think digging in and reviewing that data is a step that this council has not yet taken, but that we can address in a future meeting. So we have the data. What do we do with it? Can certainly be a future topic of conversation. Before I move on to the next focal area, are there any comments, questions, or potential other action steps that council members would like to address related to stakeholder engagement and outreach?
Hey, this is Colonel Ju. For the first goal there about developing a communication plan, is that going to be limited to council members only, or can anybody jump into that subcommittee?
That is a great question, Colonel Ju. I would like to limit it to council members or their designee. And I meant to mention that, so I'm so glad that you asked. If you yourself don't have the capacity to serve, but have someone sitting in your office right now who might have some capacity to serve, I would accept a designee from a council member. So great question.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So this is a fairly new approach for the council. So I will bring this opportunity up each time that we review our quarterly results. That if there are any new action steps or activities that you would like to bring up or suggest, I will create space for that each meeting. We will, though, at the end of each fiscal year, review our priorities to determine what have we met that might roll off of our priority list, what do we no longer feel is needed, what's ongoing or needs additional work. And at that time, we can also add any action steps and goals that we want to set for the upcoming year. But you'll have that opportunity at a quarterly basis as well. So with that, I will move to our next focal area, which is training opportunities and resource dissemination. We had identified bringing in case studies. And so while we do not have a case study for the council to review today, we have added, as I mentioned in the agenda, a new agenda item, the school liaison officer update. And this will provide an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the school liaison officers, the role that they play, as well as to dig into some of the case studies, things that they're encountering, as an opportunity both to, I think, hear about their work, the work that they do, but also just kind of firsthand connect when we talk about obstacles and barriers, what those look like, as well as how we troubleshoot and what some of the solutions are and workarounds around for those issues. So we think that will be an opportunity in that new agenda item to address that priority. Another area that was identified or action step for promoting training opportunities and resource dissemination was to promote the criteria for Purple Star. For the Purple Star campuses and designation. There are some highlights listed here that, again, Dr. Lay's team has accomplished and been working on this quarter. So you will hear more about these activities in her update. But I also wanted to mention the last bullet point there is that Dr. Lay's been invited to join a National Purple Star panel as a Purple Star state lead. And so kudos to her for that recognition. And we are excited to hear report backs from that panel and how we can continue to support Purple Star. I do want to make a quick distinction here. I think that may not be clear. The military compact is separate and apart from Purple Star campus designation. The military compact really are the rules. It is the agreement among member states to abide by and support certain these provisions or rules, as I mentioned, related to admission and enrollment of students. This council, the State Advisory Council, is a requirement of the compact as a member state. And so again, it is an interstate compact that provides a set of rules by which member states agree to uphold as members. Purple Star campus designation is a recognition. It's a distinction for schools regarding their intentional practices and structures that support students and families. They have transition programs. They have visible resources. They have a website. It was actually the Purple Star initiative was actually started by a state MIC3 commissioner. So the two do get intertwined quite a bit, but the actual Purple Star campus designation is not a part of or covered by the campus. I'm sorry, or covered by the compact. So MIC3 sets the rules, and Purple Star campus designation reflects how schools put supportive practices into action. but the last thing I'll say is while Purple Star Campus is not part of the compact or the State Advisory Council's formal role, promoting Purple Star Campus criteria supports many of the same principles by encouraging these campus level practices that support the proper implementation of the compact. And help schools consistently meet the needs of military connected students. So it is absolutely, I think, appropriate to say that this council would promote that criteria, because those criteria for Purple Star designation, again, support proper implementation of the compact. So I will pause here and see if we have any, again, questions, comments, or other action steps or suggestions related to training opportunities and resource dissemination. As a new agenda item, I'm not expecting to hear a lot of suggestions here and now, but again, at the end of the year is when we will kind of clear the slate and identify those action steps together. But for now, we'll keep working on what we have identified. And then the last focal point is our strategic partnerships and leadership. Here is where the council has identified our positions. Skipping order on the second row there, filling vacant council positions. We have talked about identifying a plan for current vacancies. I have created a schedule of terms to better anticipate vacancies because we've been a little proactive and just started once a member's term has ended, and we could actually start a meeting or two before that so that we can not have that gap. Some results, some things that we've done since our last quarter. I mentioned earlier, some letters of interest have been distributed, and the one pager that Colonel Ju suggested has been developed or at least drafted. Going back up to our first row, our school liaison officers are one of our most strategic partners this council can have. And so we had talked about adding a school liaison update to our meetings, and we will have our first update today. And so pausing here, any questions, comments, or additional action steps? All right, well, then I will keep moving so that we can take advantage of our first school liaison update here in just a moment. Before we do that, I do want to pause here to acknowledge that it is the month of the military child, which is April. So April is recognized nationally as the month of the military child. It's a time set aside each year to acknowledge the unique experiences and contributions of children in military family. The observance was established by the U.S. Department of Defense to ensure military-connected children are recognized for the sacrifices that they make alongside of their families. And so it also provides an opportunity for our agencies, our schools, and communities to increase awareness and to reflect on how some of the transitions that our students experience impacts them, and to reaffirm our commitment to supporting their success. So as a part of that acknowledgement, we have a couple of updates on activities around the state. But before I move on, fun fact, so a key feature of the month of the military child is Purpleette, and that's that visible acknowledgement, symbolic, visible show of support for our military connected students. And why purple? You may know this, but this is the fun fact. Purple symbolizes all branches of the U.S. Armed Forces. So combining the colors traditionally associated with each service gives you purple. And so with that, I will bring up, I'm not sure I have all of the right animation here for you, Dr. Lay, so I'm just going to
you do.
for you and turn it over to you for this.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much, Commissioner Snyder. Our program, through collaboration with our grantee, the Military Child Education Coalition, or MSEC, we released a Brave Hearts, Bright Futures Texas Month of Military Child Toolkit. And this was to help support statewide awareness and engagement. And it included ready to use graphics for emails, newsletters, social media, statewide proclamation, Purple Up Day materials, and we had a very specific Texas military connected student facts infographics that districts and campuses could use and easily share with the communities. We selected April 10th as our Purple Up, and so on April 10th, we had a lot of school districts across the state of Texas wear their purple. They created T-shirts based on the images that we put in our toolkit. They promoted it through social media, and so it's just it's the first time Texas has ever had a toolkit like this to help promote, and it was just overwhelming to see the amount of usage across just social media alone. So on the next slide, we have a couple of those snippets of social media that we grabbed from Facebook, from LinkedIn, from Twitter, X, I don't Instagram, all those. And so with that, it was just exciting to see how they were innovative in using and promoting Purple Up and Month of Military Child. I do believe there's one more slide. And so this effort, really, the toolkit, it aligned to the council's goals. It helped to increase awareness of military connected students. It helped to promote consistent messaging across Texas. And then it also helped schools to visibly recognize and support our students in a way that reinforces the intent of the compact. And so, yeah, just super excited to be able to share this. And we're hoping to continue updating this every single year so we can have intentional social media blasts and increase awareness for Month of Military Child and Purple Up.
Thank you, Dr. Lay. The national headquarters we talked about, MIC3 has a toolkit on their website, but it's really exciting that Dr. Lay's team has developed a Texas-specific toolkit. And so if you missed it this year, well, first of all, it's not too late. We're still in the month of April. There are a QR code a little bit later in the presentation, and the presentation will be available to council members. And then, of course, if you're having trouble finding the toolkit, if you're in the audience, reach out to us here at TEA and we'll make sure we get you a direct link, or you could just go onto the TEA website and Google toolkit would probably get you where you need to be. While we're here, though, I have to ask Dr. Lay, I've meant to ask before, love the Texas graphic. Is there anything, is this specific to Purple Up, or is this a graphic that your team is using for all of its work year round?
For this year, it actually started off when we sent our Texas cohort, our ESC military champions, to the GTS Summit. And so with that, we created with our grantee, MSEC, a specific Texas design to have T-shirts made. And so all of us had T-shirts. And so we did the solidarity thing at GTS where all Texas representatives was wearing that shirt. And you'll see that picture later on. We have that shirt. And so with that, we got so many recognitions and questions about the image itself, because if you look at the way that the text, it's the shape of Texas with the heart and all the words supporting military. So everyone loved it so much that we ended up giving that image to our toolkit. So anybody in the state of Texas who wants to use that to create their own T-shirts, they can print that on their own. So it is a Texas specific. We use it for all of our military promotion work this year.
That's fantastic. Love that can be replicated. Council members, it's free and open use. If you need a Purple Up T-shirt to wear your colors, show your pride. Any questions for Dr. Lay before we move on to our next agenda item? All right. Well, then I will move us forward to our school liaison officer update. I would like to introduce our council member, Simone Winlet Hendricks. I'll ask Simone if you could start us off with just a little bit about yourself, your role, and then walk us through the school liaison officer update. Before she does that, though, I have would like to work with our communications department here at TEA I'd like to extract this part of our recording because I think what she is going to share will really be a useful piece for onboarding for our new council members that we are looking to onboard. I've asked her to start, while we've talked about this can be an opportunity to review some of the work and case studies that our school liaison officers are encountering. I really thought it would be helpful to start with just the role of the school liaison officer that all of our council members may not be aware. And so that's in part of asking you to start with an introduction of yourself, Simone, Member Hendricks, so that we can use this piece for future members to learn a little bit more about one of our most important partners, the school liaison officers.
Sure. Thank you so much. A little bit about me. So I am a school liaison officer at Fort Bliss, El Paso, Texas. We have 10 school districts that we support. We are very lucky. We have 3 school liaison officers that support this community. But I also represent our Texas SLO team all over the state here at the council. I have been a school liaison officer for, I want to say this is my 14th year. So yeah, time flies when you're having fun. So yeah, I think it's the 14th year. I was an educator before, kindergarten teacher, and so came from the school district, but found my calling because as a member of a military family and transitioning with my own students and children from Germany to here and other places, this is near and dear to my heart because our military families deserve that support and need that support. And the school liaison officer team in Texas is exceptional, and they will support every family that comes through our gates. So I'm very excited to share today with you just a little bit of what the school liaison team does and how we can support the mission of the council. So yeah, and you know, you all are in the field and know that, but I wanted to start off by just highlighting some of the transitional challenges and barriers that our military students face. Everybody's transition is different, but these are some of the things that we work with on a regular basis. The hardest transitions are those that happen mid-year when everybody else is already in place and you have families that are transitioning and students have to get acquainted as the new kid in school just one more time. Uh, right now, at the end of the school year, we still have families that are transitioning in and out. And those are difficult transitions, can be difficult transitions because of credit transfers and course alignment issues and of course, social and emotional stress during transition. Uh, Families might deal with deployment or other changes due to our military lifestyle. But what we see is, you know, graduation requirements that are different from state to state. So those families come oftentimes through our doors to get help with the MIC3 credit transfer and course alignment issues or things, for example, that entry ages and eligibility for kindergarten or pre-K differs from state to state. So those are additional barriers that our families might encounter, and we are here to help with that. Next slide, please. So what does the school liaison office actually do? So we facilitate those smooth transitions for our military connected students. We are here to support, we communicate with the schools, we help families, and especially we enable our families to advocate for their children. So through workshops and through education and through office visits, We make sure that our military families have the tools so that they, no matter where they go, they are able to advocate for their children. They have an understanding of what their rights and also what they need to do for their children. So that is one of the things that school liaison officers spend a lot of time with. Uh, we advocate for them that the disruptions are minimal. We want to make sure that soldiers are mission ready and the families are stable. Because if a soldier has to worry about, is my child gonna have to repeat third grade because we didn't have the right documentation, then their mind is not on mission, and there are concerns. So we want to make sure that we help communicate to the schools and help families that face those obstacles. We also are the bridge between the installations and the school districts. So through several forums, we bring together installation leaderships with our local school districts so that we can share with them what trends do we see, what are some of the concerns that the installation command needs to be aware of that will impact soldiers and their mission readiness when it comes to education. So every installation has those forums where we bring together installation and education, and the SLOs are the ones that are the bridge between the two of them. And of course, one of the big missions that we have is promote the awareness of what is it that our military families deal with, and how can we help? How can the interstate compact aid in that transition? And this is an ongoing point because we have new educators that move in and out of districts. So and they might not be aware of the interstate compact. So the education piece and promoting that awareness is a constant and is a big part of what we do. And especially those districts that might not have as many military students in attendance and don't encounter those cases very often, it is crucial that we connect with them and teach and share that awareness. Next slide, please. So these are the areas of impact that I wanted to highlight. There are many more, but these are the ones that I wanted to share with you this afternoon. Student transition. So SLOs are there to help streamline the enrollment and records transfer. We work with the PEIMS clerks. We work with administrators of schools to help in that student transition. And of course, transition is not always just about the academic issues. It can be that a family needs additional resources through that transition, or they might deal with a deployment. So we are here to provide resources such as peer programs and other resources that can help families as they transition. We work very closely with educational institutions to, like I said before, to make sure that the awareness of the challenges that our students encounter is there. We host events for our school districts, workshops, and we have collaborations with the school districts that highlight the needs of our military population. What are their barriers? How can the schools be proactive? What resources are working in the schools to help our transitioning families? So that is a big part of what we do. The visibility of the school liaison officer in the school districts, as well as the installation resources, is a key point. We make those connections to so that we then can turn around and help our military families that face those transition issues. We provide guidance on graduation pathways, and also, we help school districts and families to interpret and implement MIC3 rules and regulations. Oftentimes, a family might have heard about the MIC3, but they are not really sure of what it entails. So the school liaison officers are here to provide that guidance and work together with the school districts on the behalf of our military students. Command teams. Obviously, we are here to help so that our soldiers can be mission ready, that they don't need to worry about, family situations or issues. Uh, we are here to help strengthen that family readiness and resilience through support and through resources um, that we can share with our families. It builds that trust if families know the installation and the school districts are working together to eliminate barriers. We hear many families say, "We are glad that you are working together for military families." It improves the retention and also the quality of life for that installation. If families can move into our school districts and are pleased with the military friendly environment, it has a direct impact on the quality of life. Next slide, please. So these are some of the critical partnerships that the school liaison officers everywhere have, and how we interact with the different stakeholders. For example, district leadership, school counselors, educators, and support staff. So we are part of the board meetings. School liaison officers go and listen to board meetings. We have events such as, education summits where we bring together district leaderships and installation and command teams to talk about what are the issues that surround education. With that, we invite state education agencies so that our installations have a good overview of these are the educational barriers, and this is how we as an installation can provide, guidance and help our soldiers to navigate those systems. So we have many forums where we bring together commanders and superintendents for discussions. Here on Fort Bliss, for example, we have our process action team meeting that meets on a quarterly basis to see what are the concerns in the local school districts. But also we work with our military families and students. We have workshops that help our military families navigate the system. And of course, we are always there with our students. Um, we are very versed in local and state policies and provide legislation input whenever it is asked for or whenever it is needed, because we do see a lot of issues come through our office. So these are our partnerships that we constantly work with.
I just
And
want
community partners, of course, Region 19 for us, or other community partners also have a part in those forums. Next slide, please. For school liaison officers, the most important part, I think, is fostering those connections. We build those strong relationships early with our families, with new incoming commanders, with school staff. Every school year, we reach out to our superintendent so that we have that connection. We try to be proactive and not reactive. So that means that we keep track and document the impact and data. What are the issues that we are seeing? What works when we, work with the school districts on resolving cases so that we can provide that input to other agencies. Um, we also try and be very versed in policy so that we can help our families as they navigate through the school systems. We work with our school districts on standardized communication. So this means that we provide them with resources that they can use when they communicate to their families what is available for military families in the district. So we work with them closely on that. We lead through education and training. So education and training is a big factor when it comes to school liaison officers. It seems we have trainings for all of our stakeholders, which is an important part because we want to enable our families and our school districts to have the knowledge to help our military connected students day in and day out. So education is a big component of what we do. We try to be very accessible and visible, so you will find the school liaison officers at board meetings, at newcomers briefs, at wherever we can connect with educators, wherever we can connect with military families. The school liaison officers are present to provide resources and to provide, guidance in whichever form the parents need. Obviously, our focus is always student centered. We are looking for solutions that benefit our military students, no matter where they are, in what situation they find themselves. We try to help them to have a positive experience and a positive outcome. We also like to highlight and share success stories, which hopefully we'll be able to do at the state council on a regular basis, to where you will hear from school liaison officers around the state on what are their success stories, what are their parent concerns, and how did we help those families. Now, as a team, Texas SLOs also work together so that we can learn from each other. We share what works and what doesn't work, so that we all can benefit from that experience. Next slide, please. So the role in policy execution. So obviously we support the implementation of the interstate compact when it comes to our families and educators, because we try and translate the policy of the MIC3 into the practice with every parent that comes through our doors. Every case is different. Every school district that we work with is different. So sometimes it is just as a quick phone call to remind the counselor, hey, you're aware of the MIC3, and we can move on. Sometimes it takes a little bit more to get a case resolved. So the school liaison officers are here to take that policy and put it into practice. We make sure that schools are aware and understand the MIC3 and know how to implement it. Like I said before, this is ongoing because you have a transitioning population in the school districts as well. We try to identify and address those gaps that we see across district lines. There might be an increase in, for example, we had a case here in our school district where a new member was not aware of the MIC3, and we had parents that came and said, hey, they said we can't enroll uh, um, because we don't have our shot records. So these are easy fixes, but if we see that more families come through that have the same concern, we go to the school districts and try to address that and make sure that those gaps are closed. We want to prevent repeat issues, so therefore we always follow up with the school districts and all of the stakeholders that are involved as we address MIC3 issues. Resources are always a big part of what we do. We help the families to navigate the system, but we also provide resources so that they can then move on and help themselves later on. We try to speed up problem resolution so that families don't have to be in limbo for a long period of time, because As you can imagine, the longer an issue lingers on, uh, um, we don't want families to get frustrated and disenroll their children or things like that. We want to make sure that we can address issues to where students are successful in the classroom and attending school. Next slide, please. So how can the SLO support the State Advisory Council? So we are excited for this opportunity, and I think that my colleagues and I have a great wealth of information that we can provide. So we can provide the insight on common transition barriers across the state. What do SLOs see? What are the things that come through our offices? We can share best practices and also provide you with case study presentations so that you can have a better feel of, hey, what might an actual case look like and what does it take to resolve that. It will strengthen the communication channels between the state council and the school liaisons. We support policy implementation, and we can contribute to council priorities and initiatives because we are the boots on the ground and can provide you with that insight. And also provide data collection support as we go through the school year. SLOs, keep track of how many times was a case elevated to the MIC3 national office, how many cases was resolved by just on the lowest level with SLO support. So, and what cases did we see? So that is what we can also provide to you. And that is just a short overview of what school liaison officers around the state of Texas do and how we can support the mission of the State Advisory Council.
Thank you, Member Hendricks. I really think of our school liaison officers as the connective tissue between each of those entities. And I think your presentation really reflected that. Not just directly supporting our families, but connecting with the school systems, educating the school systems, and then bringing that back to the council, the national office, to my office, so that we're all, as you said, connected. Member Hendricks has reached out to me in legislative session and called my attention to bills, so that policy piece is there too. They really do have their fingers in lots of different pots, and we are really fortunate to have such a deep pool of talent in the state of Texas, as one of the states with the highest, I believe we're number 2 in the number of military connected students. And I think Dr. Lay was on one of your slides. Did I see that we're at about 230,000 students to date?
Yes, 230,000.
Keeps our school liaison officers very busy. So appreciate your update today, Member Hendricks, and looking forward to hearing from you and your team members in future updates.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any questions for Member Hendricks before we move on? All right, well, I will definitely be reaching out. Resource development caught my attention today too, Member Hendricks. So I think we have some other topics that we can talk about as we look at our training and resource dissemination priority in the year ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. All right, with that, we will move to council member and staff reports. Just as a reminder to council members, myself and Dr. Lay, as members of the council and TEA staff members, will often have standing updates as a part of this, this agenda item. But this is also your item, and you are always welcome to bring any updates you have, either informally ad hoc during the meeting, or if there's something you would like to share in advance of a meeting. Sometimes that update might actually rise to the level of it's an agenda item, but just want to again encourage you to bring topics for discussion to present to the council as you have them. But with that, Dr. Lay has an additional update. I kind of glossed over some of the results and action steps in our priority plan just because I knew she'd be taking a deeper dive as a part of her staff report. So I'll turn things back over to you, Dr. Lay.
All right, thank you. So the first part of our updates is going to be Purple Star Campus designation. Commissioner Snyder did share previously, it is separate from the compact, but wanted to really highlight that Purple Star Campus designation functions really as a practical framework that operationalizes many of the same commitments by translating compact principles into consistent campus level practices that support our military connected students and families. So one of the central priorities of the council is increasing understanding of the compact. And so Purple Star actually advances this goal by ensuring that campus staff knows who our military connected students are, understanding their unique needs, and are prepared to respond effectively every day and not just during transitions. So we are about to gear into our next open application window for Purple Star Campus designation to be awarded for the 26-27 school year. Campuses are now working on gathering all their materials to apply starting in May for the 7th year that Texas has had Purple Star Campus Designation Initiative. Each awarded campuses will hold that designation for 2 years, and after 2 years, they must reapply for that designation. So on the next slide, I do want to share that these are some of the reasons why Purple Star Campus Designation matters for campuses who may be interested in applying. But from a structural standpoint, Purple Star provides that shared framework and common language that supports consistent communication, training, and outreach across the state of Texas. We want to be able to provide our military connected students and families with the best practices in supporting their unique needs. And this is our effort in promoting Purple Star so that we have consistent strategies, implementation, and support for our student population. It also creates a very natural opportunity to align the messaging with council identified moments such as Month of Military Child and National Veteran and Military Families Appreciation Month. So with Purple Star, we do have 4 criterion, and these intentionally mirror best practices that the council supports. That's the staff training, transition support, the advisory structure, and the family engagement. On the next slide, you'll see a rough timeline of what we're looking at, starting with our Purple Star window. Our application window will start in May and it will close May 29th. We offer office hours. I've already offered one in April 15th, and I have one more. And these are very helpful for impromptu questions that the campuses may have as they're applied, because we want our campuses to be designated in any way that we can help clarify anything based on Texas Administrative Code and statute, we will. And then we go through a review process. We're happy to have such a robust volunteer group this year, and also utilizing our grant to be able to have outside entities to help us with our reviewing. And then we are hoping to announce the awards in September. And so with that, just really want to say that the compact established that protection and policy where Purple Star really creates that system and capacity to carry out those protections consistently. Sorry, tongue twist. Policy paired with practice. This is Purple Star is one way that Texas turns that commitment into action. So we are really looking forward to our May 1st application window opening. That's enough with Purple Star. So moving on to the next slide, this is super exciting. So on April 1st, starting off and honoring April as Month of Military Child, we were able to release out a military TEA Learn course. And if you're not familiar with TEA Learn course, it is a self-paced online free course that you can take at your own pace. And what is unique is you also receive continuing professional development credits, CPE credits, where a lot of our educators require to continue with their certification. And so they do receive a certificate after completing this. This course advances the council's goals in increasing statewide awareness, understanding, and consistent implementation of best practices to supporting our military connected students, and also really reinforces the intent of the military compact. On the next slide, it breaks down our module. So it's a 5 module, and this was made possible again through our grant work with MSEC. And so we worked very strategically this year to build out this course. And within 24 hours of launching this course, we had close to 165 enrolled learners from across the state. MSEC shared that they have worked with many states, and Texas is the first to offer a comprehensive program-specific course to support military-connected students in the U.S. And we have heard from other states' commissioners where they had helped to share this course out through their network as well. So we're getting a lot of really good feedback and really good results from this course alone. And we haven't even had it out for an entire month yet. On the next slide, I do want to highlight when we talked about the professional development, the trainings, the professional learning communities. These are opportunities for us to help the state and all of our stakeholders to build capacity, to increase awareness. And this helps us to be able to appropriately identify military connected students, providing the correct support for our military connected students, and really just services that they need to be successful, not just academics, but social, emotional, and also mental health. And so the next 2 slides really highlights the significant training opportunities that were delivered this school year, really focusing on that building capacity, increasing awareness, and strengthening best practices. Collectively, these efforts have actually exceeded the total amount of training that we have offered in the past 3 years combined. So this year we have had more trainings, more opportunities than all the 3 years prior combined together. So through these, program advances the council's priorities in strengthening that educator readiness, promoting that consistent implementation, and ensuring equitable statewide support. These summits here that you see here, or conferences, also advances the goals by expanding statewide educator capacity, cross-agency collaboration, because you'll see we try to increase our capacity and our collaboration through nurse networks so that we can connect through practices where the nurse can identify some of those trauma-based and connect to resources there. We've connected to CTE divisions, and we've connected through so many different aspects that we have intentions of increasing moving forward. So we are always trying to find ways to increase that by partnering up with other agencies, other departments, so that we can tap into additional aspects of the student's educational career. Because we know that military connected students can be dually identified in many, many different aspects. We have special education, we have English learners, we have GT and advanced courses. And so we're just really at the beginning stages of trying to increase and expand on our capacity. And then on the next slide, we're very excited. This is coming soon. Our first family-facing resource called New School, New Beginnings. And this resource is to help military families really navigate school transitions in Texas by explaining military compact, Purple Star campuses, key educator systems, and available statewide support. This tool itself will also help to advance council goals by disseminating clear, accessible information about the compact, strengthening family awareness, supporting smoother transitions for our military connected students. And it's an easy read. It's not jammed packed full of words, but there's checklists that parents can use, and it's going to be available in many, many formats. So we have online PDF. We will also be working on creating that interactive issue version of it where you can flip, you can do an electronic flip like a book. And we are also planning on having the excuse me, having these printed out and disseminating it to our ESC military champions so that they, as they are visiting with campuses, as they're working with families, they can hand out hard copies of these resources so everyone can have it on handy, have it on their hand. And then on the next slide, we are very excited as well for our upcoming grant. So our grant work has made our school year very successful in increasing the amount of resources and training that we were able to provide. It actually ends at the end of this month, but we are excited to be able to extend this out for another 2 years with increased funding from the state. And so our grantee continues to be Military Child Education Coalition. And with that, we are investing in the sustainable infrastructure and the consistent support that we are able to provide to expand statewide capacity and coordinated systems. Through this continued partnership and intentional engagement, we are able to partner with MIC3 representatives like Lindsay Dablow to be able to be speakers and keynote contributors to our summits and our conferences. And this helps to bring the awareness and understanding of the compact and also strengthening that educator training, directly advancing the council's purpose to promoting awareness, implementation, and effective participation. On the next slide, I wanted to highlight, I think, yep, that's the shirt that was in the Brave Hearts Brighter Future, a month of military child. So we did have those shirts printed out, and this is our ESC military cohort. One of the grant activities that we will be rolling out at the beginning of the grant is that regional military champions attendance at the upcoming MSEC Global Training Summit that's in June in San Antonio at University of Texas, San Antonio. So it's going to be June 23rd, 24th. And then additionally, our military cohort will have a specially curated PD Day, Professional Development Day on June 25th to be able to have intentional training, but also we are working to develop another resource for our school systems. And so investing in their participation actually builds that statewide expertise that can be scaled back to the districts and campuses across the state of Texas. In addition to the national level training, our grant includes regional summit activities that will help to implement local implementation coordination. And we wanted to be able to build out on the success of our Texas Military Connected Summit that we held in January, which we discussed at the last council meeting. And we are currently exploring, there's no definite yet, but we are currently exploring El Paso as our first regional location. And so we do recognize the strategic importance to border and installation connected communities while also trying to continue the alignment of the council's goals. So that's my update. And if you do have any questions or you want to learn where all these resources are, this QR code goes directly to our military family resource. I'm also the webmaster of that one, so I keep that one updated quite frequently. So any new resources that we develop, it is up and within the next day.
Thank you, Member Lay. A lot of exciting initiatives and resources coming out of your team. I'm excited about everything, but really interested in the TEA Learn opportunity, which was a couple of slides back, because it is, if I'm saying this correctly, an asynchronous opportunity. Yes. Open to, is it teachers only? You need a unique ID. Can any member of the public access those resources? Can you tell us a little bit more about the course?
Sure. Yes. So the TEA Learn course is actually open to anyone. We do have family members who create an account. So you just create an account. You don't have to have a special ID or anything. Once you create the account, you can enroll and you can take the course at your own pace. It doesn't have to be any specific web browser or anything. We also have districts and community members from outside of Texas, but we always put that caveat. This is Texas specific. So this is for Texas schools, but a lot of the other states are looking at Texas, at what we are doing, especially our TEA Learn course and Purple Star, because they're trying to bring back what we do to their state, which is amazing, because we want to be able to help all of our military connected students, as we know they transition in PCS quite frequently. So if you're a family, you're an educator, you're a committee member, anyone can enroll and take this course. It is not limited to any specific stakeholder.
That's great news. I think council members who are looking for a little more information as well as training and resources, I would encourage you to check out the course. I am curious, I'm going to put her on the spot a little bit, but Member Garza, if you're with us, I was going to ask, Member Garza holds our counselor position. I was going to ask, are our counselors required to complete CPE hours?
Yes, we are required to keep our certification in the state of Texas.
So teachers, I knew for sure. I wasn't sure about counselors. I am at a loss for what the acronym stands for a moment. Is it continued
Continuing professional education?
Professional education is what I thought. Thank you. It's just one of those things you say, if you know, but not everyone does. I'm wondering, Member Garza, if pushing this out through the counselor listserv and Stephanie Lerner's team might be helpful and get a few more clicks on the site. I'm seeing some nods. We can certainly do that.
Yes, I think that's a great idea. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Especially with the counselors that are like within San Antonio and the surrounding areas, since we're such a military concentrated area, and maybe even Killeen and out by El Paso. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's something we can easily do. I'm thinking communication plan, folks. That's one of the things I picked up from Dr. Lay's presentation, is just like, this is all of these great trainings and work is happening, but getting the message out there. And so looking forward to identifying some more ways, like some of the content, some of these resources are here. It's that dissemination and making those connection points. So also want to reach out to the school liaison officers, ensure you're seeing these resources that are available, if they can be helpful to you and the districts you serve. QR codes are included in the presentation that will be available in our shared workspace after this meeting. Thanks so much. Dr. Lay, anything else before we move to our next report?
Just speaking about the communication, I am aware that this course has been promoted out in the special education, the MTSS mental health space through our liaisons, because our collaborators from our agency also help to ensure the module 3, which is supporting military connected students with disabilities content. And so as we finish this, they were notified of it, and they were also sharing it on their network. So that is another component that we shared out.
Wonderful. Let me get us back to our stopping place. Here's that QR code again, if you didn't reach it. And I will, before I post the presentation, I'll drop in a link there for folks. Sometimes I know when you're working from your computer, it might be easier to click on a link. Thank you so much. Really excited work coming out of your team, Dr. Lay. All right, the next staff report is mine. I really have shared just about all that I have to share. So what I will use for my staff report is a reminder of that secure file sharing workspace I keep mentioning. We will go ahead and resend invitations to members after this meeting. This is a council member only space. It is where we will upload our meeting minutes and our presentations. We'll keep a copy of the operating procedures there. We have some flyers. The council one-pager I mentioned will be uploaded there as a resource. You can use that information for yourself, for your CV, even if we're not actively soliciting positions. So that resource will be available to you. Other important links, meeting dates, and reminders. So we will resend the invitation. Once you set up account, you should just be able to enter your email and password. If you did this but forgot about it or aren't really sure, I just put in my email, click continue, and then forgot my password. And you can set one up again. If you have any trouble, you can reach out directly to me. Judy Arriaga is my administrative support team member. So many of your communications, you'll have her email. You're welcome to reach out directly to Judy too, and either one of us can help make sure that you can access that space and those documents. And now I open it up to the group. As a reminder, if you don't have an update this meeting, just want to keep reminding folks about this opportunity for future meetings. But the floor is open if anyone has an update to share.
For Colonel Ju, no updates. He did just want to say thank you again for the Purple Up and our MIC3 Monthly Military Child initiatives that TA is working. It's great to see that we're moving forward and really recognizing our monthly military children throughout the year. So thank you.
I had the thought to ask for other pictures of activities from council members, campuses, and installations, and then realized that we do need signed releases if we're going to show faces as a part of our open meeting. So we'll be a little more proactive next year and let folks know maybe in the January meeting, provide the information you would need if you want pictures, to share pictures from your regions on how to handle those signed releases. But even just verbal updates, we appreciate those dates. If I move, are different across the state and across the nation. If you have had your events, we hope they were successful, or if you're planning one, we wish the same, that you great success and a lot of positive energy for our Military Connections students. Purple Up. Any other updates, topics, or announcements? Okay, with that, I'll go over just a couple of upcoming events. As I mentioned, various dates in April across the state, across the country, in recognition of our military connected students and their families. By the way, I really appreciated Member Hendricks and her update, that connection. Dr. Lay and I are both at the Texas Education Agency. I know myself, I focus so much on the things that come across my desk, which are students that are having issues with their enrollment and admissions, graduation requirements, which are very serious things. But I really appreciated Member Hendricks connecting that back, again, that connective tissue to the mission. Parents who are worried about their kids can't be at their best and give their all at their very important jobs. And so appreciated that connection that she made for us today. So for all our kids and families, we hope that they are safe and well. We do have a couple of Military Interstate Compact MIC3 101 trainings. If you attended the meeting that Lindsay DeBlau from the national office presented, then you have completed that training, and we've gone ahead and marked that for you. But if you have not completed a 101 training or were not in that meeting, I believe that was I've already forgotten, I think it was our October meeting. Then you can register on the national site. I do not have it listed here, but I am actually registered for the 201 training that they have put together. So I'll be sure to share those. You can get them on the MIC3 website, but I'll be sure to share those dates in the future as well if you are looking for part 2. And then our next advisory council meeting, we are scheduled for July 20th. That's our Q4 meeting following the fiscal year calendar. As always, we meet at 1 o'clock on a Monday, and that next meeting is July 20th. We will look at dates for the upcoming year in the July meeting and send those out to everyone after the July meeting so that we have our year ahead scheduled. And with that, we have completed our agenda for our Q3, April 20th meeting. It is time to adjourn, and to do that, that's always with a thank you. Thank you for your service on the State Advisory Council, your continued commitment to advancing educational opportunity for our military-connected students across Texas. I look forward to seeing you in July. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.